Hey there everyone, this is Samuel Johnson and welcome back to the Alien Force Retrospectives. And today we're going to be looking at episode 14 of Ben 10 Alien Force / the first episode of season 2, Darkstar Rising. And in this episode, Ben, Gwen, and Kevin the episode starts out with Ben, Gwen, and Kevin going to a warehouse to investigate a tip that Ben received. Only Kevin's a little suspicious because Ben doesn't get tips. He doesn't have a lot of connections, so they figure, so he's a little suspicious, but when they go to check the warehouse, they see that the entire place seems to be full of Forever Knights, so they decide, they think that it's pretty much legit. So they all get suited up, Ben goes alien, Kevin absorbs the top of the warehouse, Gwen gets powered up, so they burst through the roof, but the Forever Knights don't even acknowledge them. Upon investigating, they discover the Forever Knights are all just, that Forever Knights, their entire operation is all just holograms, and the one that engineered it was a plumber. Specifically, a high-ranking plumber magister, much like the magister from the Ben 10 Returns two-parter, and this is actually the episode where we learn that plumber's name. His name was Magister Labrid. It turns out that the magister, as we learned in this episode, magister is actually a rank, not a title. Is a rank, not a name. And this magister is Magister Galil, who is the plumber that oversees the entire quadrant of space, the entire Milky Way quadrant of space. And the reason he tricked Ben, Gwen, and Kevin into coming here, he got reports that they were impersonating plumbers, so he's there to place them under arrest. Of course, the group doesn't want to go quietly, and Kevin, being Kevin, he starts a fight with him, which Galil wins. But Ben goes goop and restrains him and said, "Oh, look, you want to talk? We can talk." So he explains the situation and says that he tells them that they've gotten reports about these three impersonating plumbers, and as such, he wants them to just stop, because regardless of what they're doing, he says there's no proof of alien activity on Earth, even though Ben, Gwen, and Kevin say contrary, because, well, their whole activity is going after the hybrid, and apparently the plumbers don't know about that yet, and Galil doesn't believe it. So he says he's going to let them off with a warning, because apparently the Galvin have actually given Ben special permission because he's the bearer of the Omnitrix, so the plumbers aren't supposed to interfere with the smallest things he does. He doesn't have any beef with Gwen because apparently she's never directly impersonated a plumber, but he does go after Kevin because Kevin has a record. He's been in the Null Void, and he has no basis to be a plumber, and his badge is even stolen, which actually leads to something actually very interesting. Kevin starts getting defensive and says something about his father, his real father, but we don't get a lot of details about it. And I'm only mentioning this now because I'm going to come back to this in a later episode because I want to discuss it, and it actually has something to do with the Plumbers Helpers retcon I mentioned before in Omniverse. But anyway, so he confiscates Kevin's badge and he says, just stop and I'll leave you alone. So he teleports away. And so Gwen and Kevin are in the dumps. Gwen thinks that, their operation's shut down, but Ben, being Ben, says, we'll just keep doing what we're doing. We're the good guys. We're going to help people regardless of what they say. And apparently Galil said that there weren't a lot of plumbers that came to Earth anyway because of the defeat of Vilgax and, the retirement of the plumbers on Earth. But Kevin is even more down in the dumps because apparently, and this is actually I will discuss this now because I actually did bring it up in the episode. Apparently, the reason Kevin got his panties in a twist is because apparently his real father was a plumber. Yeah, he's apparently not a mutant. He's part alien, like with Alan, Manny, and Helen, and apparently Pierce. And so I'm gonna stop the summary here. I'll pause it because I want to talk about this. I really want to talk about this. This is actually something that this is another dumb retcon. It's kind of like saying with Gwen how her powers weren't magic, they were alien. In the case of Kevin, he's not a mutant, he's also part alien. No. I don't like that. I still don't like that. And on top of that, it's a retcon that didn't need to exist. Why not just have Kevin be a good person? Not because, he wants to live up to his family name. He even goes on to explain that his mother told him stories about his dad being this amazing, awesome plumber, awesome plumber, but he never got the chance to know, but he never knew him, but he wanted to be like him. Well, okay, question one, if you wanted to be like him ever since you were a kid, why did you become a supervillain in the original show? In the original show, he was a bad seed who could absorb energy. He absorbed Ben's aliens. He destroyed stuff. He wanted to beat up Ben. He was... Yeah, you're definitely living up to your father's name by becoming this bratty kid who apparently destroyed his home and lived on the streets and tried to kill several kids. Yeah, you're definitely living up to his name. But anyway, on top of that, why make him part alien? Why make his dad a plumber? And why make his dad a plumber? And I really don't understand that. And here's the thing. It gets worse as the series goes on. It layers stuff on top of it, which I will discuss when it's brought up, but it's a dumb retcon. It's the same reason why it's part of the reason why I didn't like Gwen's powers being revealed as alien rather than actually being magic. Why not just keep it? It's an unnecessary retcon, and at least for the retcon with Gwen, I'm more lenient on it. Honestly, I'm more lenient on the Gwen one because stuff comes of it. There's plot developments of it. We got Grandma Verdona from it, who's honestly one of my favorite characters in the show. But Kevin being part alien does not really add much for anything beyond maybe an occasional villain. There is one story that comes of this, I'm gonna bring this up when he comes in, because it's part of the thing it's part of the retcon from Omniverse that plays into it, which is actually the part of the retcon which is actually the part of that retcon that I don't like, and I already went nuts with that retcon in episode 12, so this time I'm gonna actually try and layer some mystery on top of it, but otherwise, yeah, it's an unnecessary retcon if you ask me. It doesn't really add much, aside from maybe the occasional story, but otherwise, yeah. Okay. Getting off topic. So apparently Kevin's also part alien. Not a mutant, but whatever. Pretty much, but anyway, because of his retconned history with his father, he thinks he is even more down in the dumps, especially because now he's not in a quote-unquote, because now he can't live up to his name. But at the same time after Kevin leaves, because they were in this parking lot of Mr. Smoothies, he goes out to be alone. We cut to a hybrid ship with a bunch of DNA aliens working, when someone comes walking in. This man in a black suit, kind of gray top with gloves, boots, and an iron mask. And you don't know who he is. And the DNA alien, he tries getting on the ship, the DNA aliens try and stop him, but he breezes right through them, even making his way up to the hybrid, and while the hybrid is still strong and even knocks him aside, whoever this guy is, he can shoot black rays out, which act as attacks, and he blasts it directly at the hybrid, and it seems to sap the hybrid's strength a little, to the point where the hybrid asks, what do you want from me? And so this mysterious man in a mask, well, you don't see it directly, but he orders the hybrid to attack Ben, Gwen, and Kevin, as such. As Gwen and Kevin are having a moment, as she tries to cheer him up, bring him a bag of marbles, made of different materials, to try and make him feel better. On top, the hybrid comes in and attacks them. They try their best to fight him off. They fail. But Ben manages to arrive and save them. They're in Kevin's garage at the scene, by the way. But in the middle of the battle, Magister Galil comes back because, he warned them that if they were doing anything, if they were continuing impersonating plumbers, he'd have them arrested, regardless of what the Galvin said about Ben. And when he arrives, it turns out that the hybrid immediately says that they attacked me for no reason. They said they were plumbers. They keep trying to say he's one of the aliens we're fighting, but Galil isn't buying. I don't even think he completely buys the hybrid story, since he says he's going to take him away for questioning, but tries to place Ben, Gwen, and Kevin under arrest, but before he does, the guy in the mask appears and actually just attacks them. He winds up getting Ben, Kevin, Galil, and the hybrid all just in his rays, and apparently they start getting weaker and weaker and weaker, and Ben keeps fighting back. He's kind of putting up the most fight, but the guy in the mask says, I forgot how strong you were, Ben. And yeah, it turns out, the guy in the mask knows them. And Ben is wondering who he is when suddenly he gets a moment of clarity and he tells Gwen to run, because Gwen put up a shield to stop herself from being attacked. So she manages to knock him down and run away, but everyone else is captured because they were too weak to do anything. And the guy in the mask brings them to a very familiar place. It's the warehouse from All That Glitters, the one that Mike Morningstar brought Gwen to. And yeah, the guy in the mask is actually Mike Morningstar. It turned because Galil says that guy was the because it turns out that Galil says that the guy in the mask was actually the one that tipped him off about everything, and he also was the one that called the hybrid to start another incident. It turns out this has all just been one big revenge ploy. I don't really know, but though I don't really understand why he got the plumbers or the hybrid involved. I don't really know. I think maybe he wanted to just get them all in one place so he could absorb their energy. I don't know. It just does. It confuses me. His plan was just simple revenge. I don't really understand why he brought involved the hybrid or the plumbers. Maybe he just wanted more power. I don't understand. I don't really get it. I don't. It doesn't make sense. I can't really wrap my head around it. Aside from maybe he just wanted to get more power, but otherwise, he states that apparently. So when Ben actually unmasks him figuratively, because he says who he is, Mike goes on to explain that after he was defeated at the end of All That Glitters, he was pretty much ruined. He lost almost all his powers after all the high school girls just took everything they had back, but eventually as time went on, they came back, but they became stronger. Hence why Mike can shoot dark rays and why he doesn't have to make physical contact with someone to absorb their power. But unfortunately, despite that, however, because his powers are now stronger, his hunger is even stronger, and the withdrawal actually has hit him a lot harder as he removes his mask, and we see that his face is now his skin is gray. It seems it's pulled back, like he's all skin and bones. He's barely any. His eyes are sunken in. His eyes are sunken in. His hair's almost gone, and he states that now that Michael Morningstar is gone, now he's pretty much becomes a supervillain, Darkstar. He actually gets a supervillain name, which I like the name Darkstar. Nice twist on his name. So pretty much he starts absorbing the powers of Ben, Kevin, and the Magister and the hybrid. But before he can go any further, Gwen comes in and he says, "Oh, you think you can take me on your own?" But Gwen says, "Who said I came alone?" It turns out that after she ran away, she went back to the hybrid ship and got his army of DN aliens to help. It turns out that because, well, he kidnapped their leader, so they're there to get him back. So the DN aliens bum rush Darkstar, which I'm going to call him Darkstar from now on because supervillain name, but anyway. They bum rush him, and he's able to keep going through them, but there's too many, so he's getting distracted. So Gwen is able to free Ben, Kevin, the Magister, and the hybrid, though the only ones that actually get free because they were all in chains were Kevin, Ben, and the Magister. They just leave the hybrid tied up, which is actually kind of amusing. And pretty much once they're all free, it begins an epic curb stomp battle. Ben knocks him aside. Like, Ben goes echo, blasts him, sending him flying. The Magister shoots him with a ray gun. Ben smacks him a spider monkey. Kevin backhands him, and Ben just it's an awesome finale, and it's a curb stomp battle. And Darkstar is ultimately defeated, and the Magister takes him up, and the Magister changes his mind on the group, saying that they're pretty much that they've proven themselves. They're good people. That he doesn't need to assign any new plumbers. So he gives Kevin back the badge. He gives Gwen her own badge as they're drafted, and he doesn't really bother with Ben because he's already at the Omnitrix, so he doesn't really need anything. So he leaves Earth in their hands. He takes Darkstar away to imprison him in the Null Void, while Kevin goes off to tell his mom to call his mom the good news, because apparently he actually reconciled with his mom in the last 5 years. So anyway, I like this episode. I really do. It's a nice. Honestly, it kind of has a similar feel to the original show. And it's nice that we get. First of all, let me talk. I actually like more. I like that we kind of get more history. Like, we see more of the plumbers, and we kind of get more about them. Like, I mentioned how I kind of felt like it was a small. Maybe I mentioned this. I don't remember. He mentioned maybe a small retcon where he mentioned that the plumbers thought that were retired, but instead are actually space police in the show. I like that we'll get more on that angle as we get introduced to Galil. That plumbers are just like interstellar cops, and that each sector of space is like a beat to them. Galil is like the police chief for the sector. So and Galil he is definitely the no nonsense kind of cop, as he doesn't take any crap. He he doesn't take any crap. Well, maybe he can be a little stupid, but admittedly, some cops cops kind of do need evidence before they make assumptions. They can only have someone's word on many things. So, on some cases, it's kind of excusable, but he's all right. And then now let's talk about Darkstar. I mentioned in the All That Glitters vlog that that Mike Morningstar was an all right villain. He was just kind of a pretty boy who just wanted power, and I understood why that, but I think he actually makes a better villain as Darkstar, and that's simply for his design and how much his drive and his new drive. Like, I love, because as mentioned before, all he really wants is power to make himself look better, make himself feel stronger. Except now, because of what happened in All That Glitters, his drive, his want for power has grown. He needs more. He needs more to not only fix himself, but his hunger is just stronger. And on top of that, his powers are cooler. And this personality actually kind of shows how good of a villain he is. He's as mentioned before, as shown in All That Glitters, he can be a master manipulator. Only in this case, he's not trying to play anyone. In this case, when he plays someone, he's doing it all different angles. He knows how to get on someone. He knows how to get the hybrid and the plumber. He knows how to get the hybrid, Galil, and the group all, and Ben, Gwen, and Kevin all in the same area, so he can just absorb them. And he fights more. He fights harder. He fights stronger. And I love that. I like Darkstar simply for his design and his new drive. What keeps pushing him to do this? And he's just psychotic. Because of it, like his motivations haven't changed. It's just that he has to fight harder for them because of his new hunger and so forth. And also, I just like his design. I just love the dark design. I love the mystery. I love the mask. I think it's really cool. So yeah, I think my only problems with this are the retcon with Kevin, which I know that someone's gonna bring this up. Oh, it's explained away in Omniverse and all that. But no. I'm not gonna accept that. I don't accept that because we have later episodes that expand on this. I will explain that retcon when I get to the episode that directly contradicts it. But in the meantime, the retcon with Kevin's dad being a plumber and he's actually part alien instead of a mutant, I don't fully like that. It doesn't make a lot of I don't fully like that. It's just kind of weird. And it seems rather unnecessary. And again, the whole plot with Darkstar trying to pit everyone against each other, it doesn't make a lot of sense when you try and stop and think about it. Like, maybe a small grain, I don't know. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. It doesn't really it just kind of feels weird. But I like the fights. I love kind of the subject matter. I do like the drama between the team with the Magister, because of what the Magister imposes. I like that. I like that Ben's kind of more goofy in this episode too, while still trying to be a good leader. When the Magister pretty much tells the group to knock it off, he's still trying to put on a smile. He's still trying to cheer everyone up. He's still keeping an upbeat attitude. I like that. So aside from the retcon with Kevin and kind of Darkstar's whole plight, I did like the episode. I liked the action. I liked the dilemmas. I like the dilemmas. I like more of the world building. I just like I like that how they reintroduced Michael as a villain. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on the episode. It's a good episode, nice beginning of season 2, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. I'm Samuel Johnson, and tune in next week where we look at episode 15 of Ben 10 Alien Force. So yeah, hope to see you there.